오래오래 사랑하세요. 비정국 씨.
Hey, guess who's doing another voiceover? As always, I want to start by reminding you that it's a taekook-lives video and you're not really forced to watch it if it's not your cup of tea. It's actually part 2 of another video I've done last year called Top 30 Taekook Coincidences That Made Us Double Think Everything. A few days ago, I got a request for a part 2 and I thought, hey, why not? It's basically top 30 things that seem like coincidences but got us thinking if they're actually just coincidences or not. It means there is no guarantee if these are true or not, so we treat them as possibilities and talk about them. We won't include the ones that I've already named before. Let's just start from less intense ones to the ones that blew our minds more. Number 30. Taekook have different stories over how they actually met. On an interview, Tae mentioned that the first time he met Jungkook was when they were at a vocal lesson. He continued that even when they were at home, Jungkook came very late and showered after everyone slept. On another video of them all talking about their first impressions and what happened when they first met, Tae said that the first time he saw Jungkook was at dorm, and he explained that Jungkook used to care so much about his hair and spray it a lot. On another interview from 2013, they said a different story. Jungkook said they met when Tae went to his room and said, "Nice to meet you." At first he thought that he was cute and all, but then when he said it with his deep voice, he just felt very lucky to be at the same team as him. These stories usually make Army very confused over which one is actually the correct one, and if there's just some misunderstandings going on with all this. Number 29. Taekook on stage are so subtle sometimes. As you know, fan service is an obvious thing in all K-pop groups, and BTS also does it as well. As I've mentioned before, even Taekook does it sometimes. And most fan services happen on stage because that's when there are a lot of cameras and a lot of eyes to watch. But there are a lot of times when they did things that were very hard to see or capture by the cameras. For example, when Tae kissed Jungkook's neck and Jungkook seemed surprised because it wasn't something that was planned before. But despite the surprise, he just smiled and seemed very okay and content with it. Number 28. On a video from Festa a few years ago, Tae anonymously told Jimin to stop touching his thighs because he thought it was something pervy to do. Ever since that day, Jungkook keeps touching Tae's thighs, and on most occasions you can tell that he knows exactly what he's doing. There was even once when Tae offered his thigh for Jungkook to touch or hit, and it makes us wonder why, ever since Tae admitted it, Jungkook keeps doing it over and over. Number 27. Taekook has done so many skits ever since they became members, but they admitted that sometimes they like to do romance skits. They don't even say much before doing it sometimes. And they admitted that they tried it with other members, but it never really worked out. We've caught them doing it a lot on different occasions, and it always made us wonder why they said it always worked the best when they did it together. Number 26. As most of you know, members always mention that Jungkook can sleep in his own bed, and always sneaks to other rooms. They admitted that he likes going to Hoseok, Jimin, and Tae's room, and he admitted that it was because of Tae. Yoongi also accidentally called them roommates once, before changing that and saying that, "Oh, I meant Tae and Jimin." It's also interesting to know that Tae admitted that he can't sleep well alone and always has to hug something or someone to sleep well, obviously having a habit of it. And the only person that barely sleeps in his own room is Jungkook. But even if we move forward from the speculations, we get to see Jungkook and Tae always finding ways to share beds or sleep together on a lot of different and even off situations. For example, in the first Bon Voyage, Jungkook went early in the morning to take pictures from the sunrise, and when he came back, he slept with Tae instead of sleeping in his own bed. Another interesting thing happened in the third Bon Voyage when they had to share a room and bed. At first, Chongbuk was more than okay with using the same blanket and pillow that he was using for days, but when he realized that Tae wanted to use another one, he suddenly found out that, oh my god, his blanket was so smelly and he couldn't sleep with it anymore. So he threw it away so he could share the other one that Tae was holding with him. Number 25. Tae mentioned a few times that he has two moles on his hands that seem like an elephant. Jungkook also said that he has a set of them on his thighs, and they used to show them off to the camera a lot. One time Tae was asked what the moles represent. He said destiny. It reminded us of two things. First of all, of that taekook part in DNA when they sang "Don't worry, my love, all of these are coincidence. We're totally different, baby, because we're the ones who found destiny." And two, from that time that Jungkook was talking about how he believes in destiny and he thinks that no matter what you do, you're going to end up doing something or with someone. And even to this day, we still wonder if there are connections between them or not. Number 24. Tae mentioned that he wants to name his daughter Taekook. No, it's not a drill. In an interview on 2014, Tae mentioned that in 10 years he wanted to take Taekook and Taekwon, his children, to a zoo to feed pigeons. As you can tell, Taekook is actually a mixture of Taeyong and Jungkook's name. That's why it always made us question if it was just a coincidence or Tae knowingly chose that name. Number 23. This is something I personally noticed. Every time we don't see BTS around for a while, we get a lot of Taekook contents. Two of the examples would be around January 2018 to April 2018, where we got a ton of Taekook contents out of nowhere, which surprised most of the fans. Same thing happened on their latest break this year when we suddenly got a lot of Taekook Bangtan bombs and stuff, and a lot of people were surprised as well. Number 22. On a recent interview, the boys were doing a test. They had to choose what or who is the most important person or thing to them based on the animals they had to choose. Tae chose a rabbit and Jungkook chose a panther. It's really nice to know that Jungkook's animal sign is a rabbit and Tae's sign is a tiger, and panther is the closest thing to a tiger out of that list. They said that panther means life partner, as in like a couple kind of partner. As soon as it was revealed, Tae flicked Jungkook's chin happily out of nowhere, and then Jungkook asks, "You know who my life partner is?" And instead of saying ARMY or like I don't know anyone else, Hoseok says BTS. Meanwhile, Jungkook's hand looks like he was pointing at Tae, and Tae couldn't really stop smiling. Number 21. Even if you're not a Taekooker, you probably know about the tragedy over this one. The last time Taekook posted a selfie together was on 2017. There was also another picture of only them taking and posted for an advertise, but it wasn't really a selfie and Jin was the one who took it and posted it. Long story short, it was always very strange. Number 20. Speaking of the game and Jungkook. As you know, Jungkook has a very specific way of being associated with closets. It is a joke in the fandom that he lives in a closet despite being a millionaire, because that's where we always see him whenever he has to show his room. He calls the videos that he takes and edits Golden Closet films, and the pictures Golden Closet pictures. He once said that it is because he edited his videos in a closet, but when he said it, he actually had his own room, and he didn't really live in a closet based on what they told us. As if it wasn't already strange, in the new game, there came a video of Jungkook sleeping in a closet while Tae and Hoseok were filming him. We're still unsure if the whole thing with Jungkook being in a closet is just a coincidence or there are actually hints in it. Number 19. Taehyung and Jungkook have done a lot of different lives before, and although it doesn't happen all the time, it happens enough for us to start questioning. During a lot of their lives, we've seen them looking over the camera as if someone was behind it, and we've even heard some strange voices that didn't come from them. As I mentioned, it doesn't always happen, and it doesn't happen with other members either. So it made us question if they have a ghost in their hotel rooms to make the noises, or if someone's actually with them, and by someone I mean actually themselves. Number 18. They know each other the best and tell each other about almost everything. It's no surprise to know that Taehyung and Jungkook have the same hobbies as the other one, like the same kind of things, they love the same movies, they both like the same games like Overwatch. Other members said that they don't really share their favorite songs with them, but they share it with each other. Taeyang mentioned last year that whenever he has any worries, Chongbuk listens to him, and we've seen a lot of different times that they let each other know about things that they actually shouldn't, like when Jungkook told Taeyang about his secret mission, or like about how they notice things about each other without the other one even saying it. Like the time the members tried to prank Tae, and Tae said one of the reasons that he found out about the prank was Jungkook's constant sighing. And then when he wanted to get back at them and tried to act mad and angry at them, and Jungkook realized immediately. It's such a beautiful thing to have a strong connection like them, but it always made us wonder just how strong that connection really is. Number 17. They touch each other on some very questionable parts. It happens a lot, and most of the times it happens very subtly. One of the times that I still can't get out of my mind is during a concert when Tae subtly touched Jungkook's crotch when he had to do his turn on DNA, and then bent his butt a bit, and they both acted as if nothing really happened, as if it was just so normal. Number 16. Big Hit changing the timing of a lot of their taekook related videos. I can bring at least two occasions when it happened. One of the times that it happened was during the first Bon Voyage when Taehyung and Jungkook were sleeping in the same bed. What happened was that Jungkook went to Tae's bed, Tae woke up and asked him what he was doing there. Then they went back to sleep, Jungkook cuddled him, Tae kissed his arm, and Jungkook kissed his cheek. We could see the timing based on the member on top of them and the cover on his leg. But they made it look as if Tae asked Jungkook why he was there after the whole cuddling scene. It made it seem as if Tae possibly asked Jungkook to leave, and the whole cuddling thing happened without Tae even knowing who was there. Another time that happened was on the video of Tae and Jungkook reacting to Winter Bear. It had a specific edit, but if we could pay attention to Tae's watch, we would see that Jungkook's cloth was not unbuttoned at first, but in the end it did. Well, they put it as if it happened in the middle and he buttoned it up again. Things like this happen a lot, and we wonder if they happen for no reason to them at all, or bigger things are involved as well. Number 15. Tae once mentioned that red is his favorite color for hair, and in only a few months we saw Jungkook, who usually sticks with black or brownish kind of hair, change his color to red.
Just black.
Just black.
Yeah.
I'm red.
Red. Yeah.
When he redid it again, he did it half-half, similar to a hairstyle Tae had a few months before, and said, "Love is half-half." Only a few months after it, Tae also changed his hair color to red. It could all be just a big coincidence. But the timing of it all made us think that if it was just a coincidence or they did it on purpose. Number 14. Bathroom Buddies. 2016 was the start of it all. We saw Tae and JK leaving their seats on an award show. They came back almost half an hour later, and when they did, they were very touchy with each other. Then on 2017 it happened again, and when they came back and after their makeups wore off, they had bruises on their necks. Some people said that they had pimples or insect bruises at the same time, which is very unlikely. But some others believe that they were hickeys. That was when the whole bathroom buddies culture stuff blew up. But then on 2018 and 19 it got even worse, to a point that they would do it on almost every award show. But they wouldn't do it at the same time. They would usually wait for the other one to come back for a minute and then the other one would come back, as if they were disappearing at the same time. We still wonder, where do they go all the time and why are they trying to hide it if nothing serious is really going on? Number 13. As I mentioned before, I don't think Taekook had anything to do with the reason behind their disbandment. I think they all went through a stuff and they were all very pressured, and it actually breaks my heart to even think about how much pressure they must have gone through to even think about it. But later on I realized how during the same timeline Taekook were more open and vocal than before. So the question is that if the whole thing was just a coincidence, or there was a reason that they happened at the same time. Maybe it was because they weren't really afraid of bringing the whole band down anymore. Number 12. Chongbuk and the Moon. If you're one of my subscribers, you've probably heard of this one a lot. Basically, Jungkook has been associated with moon a lot. He posted a picture of himself inside of a moon. He called himself a moon. Namjoon even called him a moon. And there were even a commercial of Taehyung and Jungkook together watching the moon together, which was similar to a romantic scene between Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston. Jungkook's explanation of what a moon means was similar to the same explanation Namjoon brought in his Moonchild song. Namjoon once admitted that he enjoys writing about other people's stories in his songs, and even Tae mentioned once that he was very interested in that song because Tae and Namjoon also used the word Moonchild in one of their songs called 4 O'Clock, which was another song that was talking about some sort of moon. Not to mention how Namjoon once mentioned a movie called Moonlight, which is an LGBTQ plus movie with a main gay character. It all keeps making us wonder if this whole thing are just speculations and coincidences, or there are actually LGBTQ plus hints in the moon that relates to Jungkook. Number 11. Taehyung and Jungkook have an interesting way of communication with each other. On my previous video, I mentioned how they use a handshake that says, "I promise that I love you." But this time I want to mention that they also have some other hand signs that we don't really know what they mean. We can't understand it even with ASL or KSL. It seems to be a secret language that they created for themselves to talk to each other when they can't. Number 10. On the third Bon Voyage, Jungkook got a tattoo with the "I love you" sign on it, and the peace written underneath it. As you probably know, this is the sign language for peace, and it also looks like V. So a lot of people have speculated that maybe it's related to Taehyung. But that's not all of it. An army who visited Malta went to the same tattoo shop that Jungkook got his tattoo from, and the tattoo artist said that Jungkook got back there and got another tattoo off camera. It was a tattoo of sun. Tae also had the same tattoo on his arm too, so it was a matching tattoo. And another interesting thing is that Taehyung's name in Hangul is actually very similar to sun in Hangul.
태영이 파판이라고 했다.
And another interesting thing is that Taehyung also got another Sun and Moon Toto in the very first Bon Voyage series. Number 9. Once Tae came back on Bon Voyage 3, Jungkook insisted for no one to tell Tae who was in which room because the biggest and best room was upstairs where Jimin and Jin were staying at. But as soon as Tae had to choose, Jungkook kept subtly giving him hints about where his room was. Jungkook was previously very happy to have a room all to his own. So that's why when he started giving hints, it all got really interesting. Even the members teased him about it, and in the end, Tae actually chose the one that Jungkook was hinting at. Number 8. In the latest Pride Month, only a few hours after midnight in Korea, Tae released the cover of an LGBTQ+ movie called Call Me By Your Name. Many people denied it, so Tae confirmed it in a live and recommended the movie. It's not the first time Tae does something like this, but it's one of the things that made us wonder if he did it as an ally or a member. Either way, the community appreciates the exposure, especially from an idol in Korea where our community isn't really that open yet. Number 7. In one of their latest lives, Tae came to Jungkook's room while Jungkook was still on live. Jin was just saying how hard it was to find Jungkook's room because he didn't know where it was, and then as soon as Tae came, he randomly asked, "Hey, whose room is this?" Even Jin and Jimin were very surprised by the question. There were 2 luggages on the ground and everything pointed to them sharing the room, but it seemed like they didn't want to say it out loud. But when everyone left and they had to end the live, Jungkook was like, "Hey, maybe you should go too," and Tae was like, "Aren't we sharing this room? You really want me to go?" It went on with Jungkook not knowing what to say, and then they just awkwardly kept looking at the camera to fill the silence. And when Tae actually leaves, Jungkook just says a few more words and stuff and ends the live within a minute. Tae clearly said that they were supposed to share the room, and it was very strange for him to even ask whose room it was. So that's why it was very strange for us to see why they were actually hiding such a thing, if there's really nothing wrong with it. Number 6. 2016 was the year Jungkook officially became an adult. The interesting thing that happened was that the day after his birthday, when they were coming back to Korea, Tae and Jungkook were walking together wearing matching rings, and you could clearly see spots on their necks that looked like bruises or hickeys. The timing of it all was very, very interesting. So it's one of the reasons people think what really happened on Jungkook's birthday. Number 5. On the third Bon Voyage, Tae couldn't really be with other members until episode 4. In the first 4 episodes, we kept seeing Jungkook on his phone. Hoseok even tried to make him pay attention to the camera, but he was very distracted by his phone. We assumed it was because he was talking to Tae, and interestingly, the whole thing with his phone stopped as soon as Tae came back and joined everyone else. Number 4. Tae did a live with Hoseok a few months ago, and they were having a very good time. As you probably know, Hoseok really likes to read different sorts of comments. During the live, he read a comment that said, "Do you like JK?" Tae looked really taken back at that time, and as soon as it happened, the live ended immediately. They said it was because of connection problems, but they never really said anything about the whole comment, and it was really strange that as soon as it happened, the live just suddenly ended. Number 3. On the same live I've mentioned before, Tae and JK mentioned that they were working out together a while back, and Jin asked about it. JK called it a date. There was a heavy silence, and Tae even clapped his hands for no reason to feel the awkwardness over what Jungkook said. People brushed it off easily, but it still remains a mystery if it was just a slip for Jungkook or he actually said it on purpose and he actually meant it. Number 2. On a very old legend in Korea, it is said that there was a story about a bachelor that makes blue and red threads for marriage to tie the knot after learning about his destined life partner. You probably know that in Korean wedding ceremonies, couples usually wear matching sets of blue and red threads to get married. On their Busan concerts a while back, it's also Jungkook's hometown, Jungkook and Tae were wearing matching red and blue threads. Most people thought it was just a coincidence, but it felt less of a coincidence when Tae started wearing them on both of his ears and showing it to Jungkook, and then showing off his own thread to the audience. They even wore the same ones on a recent Bangtan bomb. Number 1. This is my personal favorite. On Summer Package 2018, Tae called Jungkook his friend, aka Chingu in Hangul. For those of you who don't know, Chingu is the word people use for the friends who are the same age or a close age as them. It's just basically a way to refer to people as equal and very close friends. They were all calling each other that way, even Jungkook referred to Yoongi that way, and it was all fun and game. But when Tae called Jungkook that way, Jungkook immediately asked him if he was his friend, like, hey, am I your friend? And told him to refer to him right. It's interesting because only a few years ago, Jungkook himself used to call Tae Chingu as well, but apparently it wasn't okay anymore. It made a lot of us wonder if it was okay for everyone else to call each other that way, then why wasn't it okay for Tae to call Jungkook that way? And if friend wasn't the proper name for what they were, then what was?
소개합니다. 예. 친구야? 야, 해봐. 잘해봐.
As always, remember that these are all just theories. We can never be sure which ones are facts and which ones are false. But it's nice to talk about them and consider them as possibilities in case some of them actually become true. The most important part is to support and love them, however they are, despite everything.
정국아, 사랑한다.
오래오래 사랑하세요. 비정국 씨.